JamesAllen.com is the online destination to easily design a customized engagement ring and save up to 50% compared to traditional stores. You pick a diamond, whether it's lab-created or earth-created, James Allen has over 200,000 conflict-free stones. Then you pick your ring setting and metal. And if you need some help, they have real-time diamond consultations available, where an expert can walk you through it all. Get 25% off your order at JamesAllen.com, code podcast. That's JamesAllen.com, code podcast.
The connection between you and your therapist matters. That's why Alma focuses on helping you find the right someone to talk to, not just anyone. When you browse their online directory, you can filter your search by what you want to focus on, like anxiety, relationships, or big life transitions. You can also specify preferences around gender, race, faith, and more to help you find someone who's more likely to understand where you're coming from. Alma also makes it easy for therapists to navigate insurance. That's why 95% of providers in their directory accept insurance for sessions, so you can find care that's affordable too. You want to talk to someone, but not just anyone. Alma is there to help you find the right fit. Visit helloalma.com/notjustanyone to schedule a free consultation today. That's helloalma.com/notjustanyone.
So I'm a father of one. I gotta find a babysitter. I found care.com and I was blown away. Through the platform, I was able to find local and experienced candidates along with their reviews and rates, which were way more affordable than I anticipated. Care.com really put me at ease knowing that they were all required to go through a background check. If you're like me and you need to find someone reliable for your childcare necessities, check out Care.com. Find the ideal sitters for your childcare needs.
It's time. Time to get in the zone. Time to get in the zone with the 49ers Web Zone. This is the No Huddle Podcast with Al and Brian.
What's up, faithful? You're listening to another episode of the 49ers Web Zone No Huddle Podcast, a part of the Odyssey Network. I'm Brian Renick. He's Al Saco. It is Victory Sunday. The 49ers survived their divisional matchup against the Green Bay Packers 24-21. I watched the game from Vegas. Al watched the game from his basement. Mm-hmm. And I probably would have preferred to watch the game where you watched your game, Al. I don't know about you, but when it comes down to 49er football specifically, but postseason football, I just kind of want to watch by myself. Like, I don't want to be surrounded by people. I don't want to be, especially people I don't know. You know, typically I'm watching 49er games with one other person, and that's my buddy Tim. And if I'm not able to do that, I just want to watch it alone. That was far more stressful than I anticipated it being, than it needed to be. There are positives and negatives to take away from this matchup. But overall, what were your feelings as the clock struck zero?
Well, you know, I'm like you. I'm the same way. When I especially playoff football with the Niners, I just want to be by myself. I'm glad I'm not the only weird one who doesn't want to be around other people when he watches the games. But, you know, I talk a lot on the show, and so anybody who knows me, I'm a big you do or you don't guy. Mm-hmm. And through most of this game, while I watched a QB that looked uncomfortable and just off at times. Now, granted, it was raining, but still, it was not Purdy's best day by any stretch of the imagination. An offensive game plan that was confusing to me. Yeah. Atrocious clock management before the half. A defense that can't set the edge, that couldn't get home even when the few times they did seem to get pressure. A pass defense that was slipping and falling, and Ambry Thomas struggling with penalties. Bad special teams. I started to get pissed. Especially around halftime, third quarter, I was pissed. But then I said to myself, well, listen, you're a championship team or you aren't. And if you're a championship team, despite all the issues, despite that you've tried every way possible to lose this game, if you're a championship team, you're going to find a way to pull it out. And was there luck involved for the Niners to pull this game out? Absolutely. When is there not luck involved? Green Bay missed a field goal. You know, there were tip balls, but what, the Patriots didn't get any luck in their run? It happens. You win titles most of the time. A lot of the time there's luck involved. So a big part of being a championship team to me, Brian, is when the other team opens the door, or leaves the door open, I should say, you make them regret it. You make plays to win the game. a game that you probably had no business winning at all. And we'll talk about it in more detail. But what happened in this game was the defense didn't play well and they stiffened up when they had to. The quarterback did not play well. And then when he needed the drive of his life, he got it done.
Yeah.
And even the kicker, who didn't kick one out of the end zone and it got returned. I mean, that's not all his fault because the coverage wasn't good, but got a kick blocked that you were worried about, made a big 52-yarder.
Yeah, he did.
So it was a game of both a lot of bad, but then at the end they got it done. So I hope it's a game that they just got out of their system and they're ready to go. But I'll tell you what, man, they got it done at the end. I have big concerns about the defense, but the quarterback, what else? That's the stuff that you're talking about when you talk about if you're going to win championships, if you're going to be an elite QB or even just a really, really, really good QB, you have to come through in those moments. And he did. He did when it mattered.
Yeah, I think part of the biggest frustration for me watching that game was the fact that the Ravens game was on before it, and the Ravens just absolutely looked like the class of the NFL. And then you're watching this game going, I don't think the way that both of those teams played yesterday, I tweeted, I was like, neither one of these teams can beat the Ravens the way that they're playing right now. Now, you've got to take into account the weather. It is hard to play in the rain, but both teams do have to play in it. So there is that. And Brock did eventually find a way to pull it out. And like you said, it was a frustrating game to watch for many different reasons. But it's also one of those games where as a fan, you're watching it and you're getting pissed off and you're talking about the defense and their inability to make stops, all of that. And then you go and you look at the actual stats of the game and you're like, oh, wait a second. Jordan Love didn't even throw for 200 yards. You know, the Aaron Jones didn't run for 100. Like, for as frustrating as that game was, the defense still played really, really, really well when you take a step back and you take a breath after the game and after they've won the game. But all season, the talk has been the 49ers are front runners. The 49ers can't win when the game gets grimy or the game gets, at the very least out of their favored game script, right? Which is, again, get ahead early and then just absolutely step on their throats. Did they do that? No. Was Kyle Shanahan's game plan, did it seem weird to me like the Ravens game plan did? Absolutely. Like it genuinely felt like, once again, he came out and he tried to get cute and he tried to prove to everybody that Brock Purdy is, a great I don't know. I even tweeted out, what is Kyle Shanahan trying to prove with this game plan? At one point, Christian McCaffrey was averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Now, granted, that was buoyed by a long run, but Kyle Shanahan loves to run the ball. And then when it gets down to crunch time, when it gets down to the postseason, when it gets to big games like against the Ravens in the regular season, he gets away from it for whatever reason. And I don't understand it. And it's wild to me. Yeah. And I don't know if it's, and we talked about this last episode that the two of us were on. We talked about the Dolphins loss and how Mike McDaniel might suffer from the same thing Kyle Shanahan does, which is overthinking yourself or outthinking yourself in terms of, just not going with what is going to be effective. And they get pass happy all of a sudden. And you're like, this whole thing revolves around number 23 in the backfield. Like, what are we doing? And so, it was frustrating, but what I appreciate was that, again, the talk all season, the 49ers can't win games like that. And on the biggest stage, when it mattered most, they won that game. And I think ultimately that's what you have to take away. And I think more of that stems from, you had asked me again last episode, if they get down by 10 early, are you going to be afraid? And my answer was no. And I wasn't. And they never got down by 10, but what I said was this team is too veteran laden and too experienced to turtle in a situation like that. And I think ultimately that was the difference in the game, is that when push came to shove and it was the fourth quarter and the 49ers needed a drive for a touchdown and then they needed a defensive stop and they went against the youngest team in the NFL and by all accounts, the youngest team then in the playoffs. And it was that, I think that experience, that veteran leadership that really that really won the day for them. And then the other thing is, again, Brock Purdy, you have to appreciate the fact that he played a terrible game for 3.5 quarters. And then when the team needed him most, had a great drive that ended in a touchdown. And so that's twice now where you have a game in the rain. Brock Purdy doesn't play well, but when the game is on the line, he does what he needs to do to lead his team down to win the game, except this time he had to score a touchdown and he didn't have to leave it up to the kicker. And that, I think, made all the difference in the world. But, there's, like you said, there's a lot of positive and a lot of negative to take away from this game. And I'm looking now and the Detroit Tampa Bay game is officially over now.
Yeah, it's going to be the Lions.
Good for the Lions. Won that game 31-23. It'll be interesting. We'll preview this game later this week, but you just gotta be grateful that you won that 1 seed, because the Lions are good, especially in Detroit. They're not quite the same team on the road, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. But some of the weaknesses of this team that were exposed against the Packers can be absolutely taken advantage of by this Lions team, and that's where I get a little puckered, if you will.
Yeah, and you said something. I wanted to start with Kyle, because in my notes I wrote down Kyle Shanahan drunk ? Because I did not know what he was doing at some points in this game or what his thought process was. But you said something about the defense that I think some people feel the way that you do, where you're like, and we talked about this the last show you and I were on, where like the defense doesn't look right. Mm-hmm. But then you look up and, well, they only gave up 16 points.
Right.
Well, they gave up 29 to the Cardinals, but it was all garbage time stuff. Well, this quarterback only threw for $180. Well, this happened. At some point, we have to stop explaining this away. At some point, we have to say, you guys need to step the hell up. Because in this game, yeah, they did towards the end. So maybe that's turning a corner. But Aaron Jones was doing whatever the hell he wanted to. I thought LaFleur got away from Aaron Jones way too much. They got lucky with a couple of spots. That 4th down stop changed the game. But if that's a better spot, I thought it was a bad spot. Yeah. If that's a 1st down, maybe everything is different here. At some point, they got to set the edge. At some point, they have to play better, because maybe you're going to get by against the youngest team in the league. And maybe you'll get by against the Lions because their defense isn't very good. And if you get in a situation where Gibbs and Montgomery are killing you, maybe the Niners can outscore them. It's not a problem. But you're not getting by against the Ravens. And you're probably not getting by against the Chiefs with Pacheco, and maybe not even the Bills the way they're running the ball. So whichever of those teams it ends up being, if they do get to the Super Bowl, at some point they have to fix this defense. And the pass defense isn't very good. I'm starting to understand why they wanted Jason Verrett to get in the mix a little bit. Yeah. Lenore played awesome. Mm-hmm. Travarius Ward's had a good year, but they have issues at safety. Yeah. What's his name? Logan Ryan. Some of the tackles he tried to make yesterday, give me a fucking break. Yeah. I mean, waving at people. And Ambry Thomas, who's played really well at times this year, had a really tough night. And he's the guy I think that they're going to be picking on. So the defense at some point, Brian, a lot of money in that defensive line, not to get by, to dominate. They need to start dominating the line of scrimmage. Where the hell is Chase Young? He doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
He has not been a good pickup to this point, I feel like. So, but you're paying Armstead, who's had a really good season. You're paying Hargrave. You're paying Bosa. We know these guys can play. They got to come out and dominate. And I think everything we're talking about Purdy, and yes, that's true, but they need this unit to step up as well and be the unit that we know they can be if they're going to win the Super Bowl.
You know who this D-line is missing? And I would never have guessed that I'd be talking about this after a divisional round playoff victory. You know who this D-line is missing? Cleveland Farrell. And that seems wild to say, but Cleveland Farrell can't rush the passer, but he can set an edge, and Chase Young cannot. And I again, multiple times yesterday on big Packers runs, it was because Chase Young did not set the edge. His rush took him inside, and then the Packers went outside. And I don't know if Farrell is going to have an opportunity to play in the championship game. But if he is, that's going to be huge for them in their run defense, because they did get Armstead back. And if you noticed, Armstead, again, made a big difference on that defensive line. They were not getting anything up the middle, but all those outside runs were successful. And it was because Cleveland Farrell, again, was not there to set the edge. And the 49ers have been great at setting the edge in general, but they've been better with Cleveland Farrell on the field and not Chase Young. So that is something to monitor for sure, especially with this Lions team, which is really good at running the football. And Jahmyr Gibbs is just electric.
He's a Chris Johnson reincarnated.
Just electric, yeah.
He should. If I'm the Lions, and I love David Montgomery, he is a tough inside runner. But if I'm the Lions, I'm giving Jahmyr Gibbs the ball 25 times in this game. Yeah, I'm treating him like Christian McCaffrey. That dude is explosive.
And I'm making the 49ers prove that they can do anything to stop it. 100%.
Yeah, because the Niners haven't been tackling well either. So you get that guy in space, But look, we know the Niners have the talent on defense. It's just they have to come out and be dominant. Again, we're not talking about like Detroit wants to win a Super Bowl, but the city of Detroit is going crazy right now. They're in the NFC Championship game, and they should be. They've had a great run.
Yeah.
Selling a little or a lot? Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage, to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Shopify's here to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout. 15% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. And Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning 24/7 help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Odyssey Podcast.
JamesAllen.com is the online destination to easily design a customized engagement ring and save up to 50% compared to traditional stores. You pick a diamond, whether it's lab-created or earth-created, James Allen has over 200,000 conflict-free stones. Then you pick your ring setting and metal. And if you need some help, they have real-time diamond consultations available where an expert can walk you through it all. Get 25% off your order at JamesAllen.com code podcast. That's JamesAllen.com code podcast.
The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/sportsfan and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, permitted parishes only, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York or visit oasas.ny.gov/gambling. Standard text messaging rates apply. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Utah, and other states where prohibited.
Niners have been in 7 of the last 13 NFC Championship games with 4 different quarterbacks, mind you, which is amazing. 4 different starting quarterbacks. They need to win a Super Bowl. We're not concerned about the NFC Championship game. No. Right? It's always fun to win these games. They need to win a Super Bowl, and they need their defense to be elite again to do that. And I feel we love these guys. They got the dogs. You know what I mean? They got the horses to do it. They just have to step up and do it. Are there some weaknesses? Yes. But again, that front 7 can be dominant to make up for the issues at safety and whatever other issues on the back end. And that's what they need against Detroit and moving on, especially against Jared Goff, who's a statue. So
yes. Yeah, they got very, very little pressure on Jordan Love. Now, to be fair, Jordan Love
is very hard to sack.
Is the least sacked quarterback in the NFL this season. Yep. So that speaks both to Jordan Love and that offensive line and their pass protection. So, you got to take that with a grain of salt, but they haven't been getting a lot of pressure in general over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 games. And so that is a concern for sure. Defending the run is a concern. And then my other concern for the defense is who is going to step up and just kind of put that defense on their back. I would argue that Fred Warner did it and Dre Greenlaw did it yesterday. It was the linebackers, but this defense is built and there are a lot of resources sunk into that defensive line. They're the ones that have to take over a game. And so far they haven't done that. And this is the first playoff game. I get it, so it'll be interesting to see if they come out against this Lions team next Sunday and put some pressure on Jared Goff, because they've got to take this game over, because there's too many injuries right now in the secondary to be at their peak performance with Hufanga out and Brown out last game. Hopefully he comes back this game, because like you said, Logan Ryan, and to be fair to Logan Ryan, he literally joined the 49ers after disembarking from a cruise ship. Like legitimately, he was on a cruise with his family when the 49ers like, hey, we want to sign you. And he, got off the cruise ship and flew to Santa Clara. So again, no shade to Logan Ryan, but that's the nature of the NFL when you've got, injuries that stack up. And so, my hope is that, Brown is, I believe, recovered. I just think that they wanted to give him an extra week because, Ryan has been playing and they thought that he would be maybe, a little stale or cold or whatever. But Brown has to play next week against this Lions team because Logan Ryan is not it. And again, no shade to Logan Ryan whatsoever. But yeah, Ambry Thomas is so frustrating because he has flashes of brilliance where you go, oh, this is what they saw. This is what made him a 3rd round pick. And then, he has games like yesterday where you're like, oh my God, like get this guy off the field. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it definitely shows why they were interested in Jason Verrett. But, at the same time, when it mattered most in the red zone, this defense bowed up and held them to 3 field goal attempts and a 4th down stop in the red zone. And that made all the difference in the world for this game because, those field goals, if those were touchdowns, this game doesn't become a victory for the 49ers. So, and that's kind of been what this defense has done all season and kind of since Kyle Shanahan's been there. It's that bend and don't break, feeling, but you're playing a little bit with fire. We need a little bit more of, some turnover luck and things like that, which again, Dre Greenlaw picked off Jordan Love 2 times yesterday, which again, made a big difference. So
huge plays. Go down, Dre. Go down.
Both times.
We don't need the 20
What are we
run
doing?
around. Yeah.
What are we doing? Although there was one guy at the I just watched the game at the sports book at the Mandalay Bay, and there was one Niner fan there who bet the over, and so he was bet the 49ers at -9.5, and he was really rooting for a pick six there to end the game to make that a 10-point victory. But I was yelling "get down" because I had no money on the game. But
did you ask him if he listens to the No Huddle podcast?
I did not. I should have. But
I'm Brian Renick. Damn it! You know who I am. Right,
but yeah, it wasn't a great performance, but like I said, when it mattered most, they bowed up, and that's what championship defenses do.
All right, I think I want to save Brock for last because I just again, I love so much what happened at the end in terms of him in his future.
Yeah.
But let's go to Kyle Shanahan.
Yep.
Drunk? Was he drunk? Weird game plan.
Yeah.
So Brock Purdy had 39 attempts in this game. I think that's the most in his career. He had 37 against the Giants in week 3 this year. And he had 37 actually in the game he relieved Garoppolo against Miami. And for him, it was like late in the third quarter and he had 33 attempts. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a one-score game and he's on pace to throw 40 times, which isn't the Niners offense.
That's not their offense.
And on top of which, he was all over the place. Did he have some good plays? Yeah, the touchdown pass to Kittle was awesome. He's rolling to his right and he drops that in there. But he was all over the place other than that, whether it was rust, whether it was a wet ball, whatever it was. So I was a little bit, it was weird. And just everything Kyle did. So he's got him throwing like crazy. And then at the end of the half, he treats that almost like he's got Jimmy at quarterback, where he's more concerned. And he kind of even said it. He was more concerned with Green Bay not scoring than the Niners being aggressive there. At least that's the way that it seemed to me. So they get the field goal attempt that gets blocked. So the whole thing was just, that's when I was just like, I was like numb at that point. And then you come out of halftime and literally, okay, I'm just going to try to, I guess, explain this. I know everybody knows what I'm talking about, but they come out in a shotgun formation with Juwan Jennings, who had a phenomenal game receiving. What a clutch game by him.
Yes.
But he comes out in the backfield and I'm like, they're not going to hand him the ball. I mean, this is a pass to McCaffrey, or McCaffrey's going to come and something's going to happen. They're not going to hand Jennings the ball. They handed Jennings the ball. And then Greg Olson's like, oh, well, you know, that play was probably for Deebo. So just don't run it. Or if you're going to run it, put Elijah Mitchell back there. Run something else. Put Ray back there. And I literally blacked out for the next like 10 minutes. I don't even know what happened. I was like, they gave it to John Jennings. Then apparently it was a 3 and out. I don't know. I don't know what happened after that. That was crazy to me. And the other thing where I was ready to jump through the television, I don't remember the exact point of the game. I wish I wrote it down, but they had 1st and 10 on the Packers 40, and it was in the second half. And they did 3 straight passes. Yeah. And they had to punt. And at that point, I'm screaming at the television, you have the best running back in the NFL. He's got to touch it at 1st or 2nd down. There's nothing wrong with being in 2nd manageable and 1st and manageable. So that's when I was kind of like, again, Kyle, what are we doing? Again, like you said, I don't know if it was he just wanted to prove Purdy can get it done. Maybe those were the looks that he saw. You know, they wanted to run, but the Packers were giving them looks that made them get out of it. But I just think at some point, you saw in McCaffrey's long touchdown run, you got to keep feeding your man. And McCaffrey actually had 17 carries and 12 targets. It did not feel that way. To me, it felt like he was missing for long portions of the game. So we saw Kyle get weird with the game plan. We saw him get too conservative before the end of the half. And those are things that can cost you a game, man. And it almost did.
Mike Silver wrote an article for the San Francisco Chronicle. And basically what he said was Kyle Shanahan's play not to lose game plan can't be the game plan moving forward in the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl, or you're not going to win the Super Bowl. And that, I think, really sums it up. It really felt like a game plan that really was, again, play not to lose. But even more than that, like I said, it was like, again, it just feels like in big moments like this, he just overthinks it. And like, you have the NFL rushing leader and you have a defense that can't defend the run very well. Why are you not? And that was the same thing with the Ravens. What was the Ravens' biggest weakness? Defending the run. What was the Packers' biggest defensive weakness? Defending the run. And in both of those games, you came out with a pass-heavy game plan, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I would love for somebody to ask Kyle, hey, what's the deal with this? Like, this is Green Bay's weakness. Like, why were you throwing more than you were running? But more than that, what concerns me is his inability to call a game when Deebo goes out. Like, if Deebo goes out mid-game, like, he can game plan around not having Deebo Samuel if he goes into the game knowing he's not going to have Deebo. But if Deebo gets injured mid-game, it's an absolute shit show on offense. And I just don't understand it. Like, I feel like maybe I'm oversimplifying it because it just, like, it feels like the answer is right there. If you've got a game plan that is Deebo heavy and Deebo goes down, don't you have a ready-made Deebo replacement on the roster already by the name of Christian McCaffrey? Why don't you then move Christian McCaffrey into or call those same plays that you would call for Deebo, but now you've got Mitchell and McCaffrey on the field? And like, what is it that Deebo can do that Christian can't? I don't think there is anything. And again, maybe it's Kyle overthinking it and going, well, if I do that, well, then all those plays where Mitchell's on the field with CMC at the same time, then they're going to key in on CMC because they're going to know that we're running some. And it's like, use that to your advantage. Like, I agree with you. Like, that would probably happen. So use that to your advantage. Pull some shit out of your bag, man. Like, what is happening? Like, it can't. Losing one player cannot derail your entire fucking game plan and play calling in the NFL. It just can't.
Especially when you have three
right.
all pros on offense that are not named Deebo Samuel at skill positions. That's why I don't want to hear the Deebo stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but you got Ayuk, Kittle, and McCaffrey too. That's plenty of firepower.
And you're largely regarded as the premier offensive innovator in the NFL right now. Like, losing one guy can't make it that difficult. And so that's another thing where I'm like, I don't understand that. Now, if Deebo can't go in the championship game, which it sounds like he can, but if he can't, I'm not as worried because Kyle does a lot better job, like I said, game planning when he knows Deebo's not going to be in. And so I don't, it just seems like if you're going to go into a game with a Deebo heavy game plan, or if you're going to go into a game with a game plan that is heavy on a player that is prone to leaving games early, maybe you have to put in some contingency plans ahead of time or something. Like, it just feels like this happens too often for it to continue to happen every time Deebo goes down. It's wild to me.
Yeah. And again, Kyle had a rough night. We're not saying Kyle sucks. We're not saying anything like that. Kyle, this was his 7th playoff win, which is 3rd in 49ers history, but behind Walsh and Seifert. So, like, we're not saying Kyle is awful. We're just saying Kyle had a bad night. I don't think he had a very good night, and hopefully he learns from it.
With Blue Link Plus, you can access your Hyundai Tucson Limited remotely. Doors unlocked, temperature set, lost car found.
There it is.
Get complimentary class-leading Blue Link Plus. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details.
Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I got to talk about this Purdy thing now. I have to go to it because this has been one of the things that's been on my mind, because for me to have a quarterback that can be clutch. You do or you don't. And we talked a few shows ago about the Super Bowl against the Chiefs where Niners were down and Jimmy Garoppolo was coming on the field. And I said to myself, okay, well, Jimmy, you're either a legend here or you're not. You either make the plays at quarterback or you don't. And this was a moment for Purdy. You know, we've seen it with Alex Smith against the Saints where he just had the opportunity and he took advantage of it. And the thing about it is, for me, you know, he's off most of the night. Biggest drive of his life. Dude absolutely delivered. Great moment for him. Great moment for the 49ers. Great moment for the 49ers fans. The only incompletion on the drive was a Kittle drop. Great throw and great catch by Brandon Ayuk. The conversion to Ayuk was a phenomenal throw and a phenomenal catch on both sides. He completes whatever 20-yard pass, whatever it was, to Chris Conley, who I'm not sure he's ever thrown a pass to before, not in a game anyway, to be able to make that throw with that timing. And then he kind of maybe stepped up into pressure, but then he's got the mind to roll out of it for a big scramble to get them into 2nd and 1, I believe, before McCaffrey scored. So just a clutch drive for him. And the thing about Purdy to me, he's in his 2nd year. Dude is 24 years old. Any
Freshly
quarterback,
24.
Just turned 24.
Yeah.
Any quarterback in the history of football who's in his 2nd year, I feel like what we're talking about at this point. Well, his growth, his development. It's okay. He's going to take some lumps in year 1 and 2 and 3. This is part of the progress. He's going to have some games where you're like, what the hell was that? Because he's only a kid and he's only played 2 years and he was a late round pick, not Purdy. Purdy's held to a completely different fucking standard. If that was Trevor Lawrence did do that last year. He threw 4 picks and then they came back in the second half and everybody's like, oh, Trevor Lawrence. Oh my God. Dude, he's the next guy. You see, he shook it off the 4 picks and came back. But Purdy, people are knocking. You're knocking this dude. This is not a 6 or 7 year veteran who's been frustrating you with inconsistent play for a half a decade. This is a kid. This is a 2nd year quarterback who came out, played like shit for most of a primetime division playoff game, shook it off and went and did a game-winning drive. Anybody who knocks that and doesn't say, you know what, that was just moxie, you're a fucking idiot. You're an idiot and you don't know football. End of story.
Well, and that's I tweeted that out today. I just don't understand the goalpost moving on Brock Purdy. So all we heard was, well, he's got to do it when it matters. He's got to lead a comeback. He's got to lead a 4th quarter comeback. He's got to lead his team to a victory when they're trailing in the 4th quarter by 5 points or more. Like, right? All these things. And then he does it last night. And then the response is, well, that doesn't count. Like, what do you mean that doesn't count? Like, that's exactly what all you idiots have said and harped on for the entirety of the 2023 season. Let's see him do it when it matters. He did it against the Browns and his kicker missed. And now he did it in the divisional round against a quality opponent. And we got crickets. Why? And you want to, and not only that, but there's also a contingent that's like, well, what's going to be lost in this is the great game that Jordan Love had. Really? Jordan Love had a great game. Jordan Love had a fine game, but he threw for less than 200 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Brock Purdy threw for 200 and change, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and led a game-winning drive. And you still want to talk about Jordan Love? Why? Because Jordan Love was a 1st-round pick? Because Jordan Love is 6'4", 220? Because Jordan Love has a better arm than Brock Purdy? None of that shit matters. What matters is whose team won the game. Brock Purdy's team won the game. Why? Because Brock Purdy led his team to a game-winning touchdown with a minute left on the clock, to where he put all the pressure on the other guy, and the other guy threw a mind-boggling interception, running and throwing back across his body in the rain
on 1st and 10.
What the hell is Jordan Love doing? But no, we're going to forget the great, shut up. Like, it is wildly obvious that there is a bias against this kid. And here's the thing. Brock Purdy confirmed whatever priors you had on him going into this game, right? In this game, he confirmed whatever priors you had going in. You want to know why? Because he's 24 years old and he's a second-year quarterback. These things are going to happen. What gets held against him is that he is on a team that expects to win the Super Bowl. And so those expectations are placed upon his shoulders. You could argue unfairly, but that's where we are. And yet all this kid does is come in and go and show over and over that the moment is not too big for him. He didn't play shitty because the moment was too big for him. He just had a shitty game with a wet ball. He's a smaller guy with smaller hands. That's going to be difficult for him. That is a conversation for the future. But for right now, all you have to know is that after playing like shit for 3 quarters, in the biggest moment, he stepped up and he was perfect. It says that he was 6 for 7, but that one incompletion was a mind-boggling drop by George Kittle. And here's the other thing that I thought was super impressive. A second-year quarterback on a drive like that who throws a perfect ball to their all-pro tight end and he drops it, what would be a first down, and now it's 3rd down and 6, and the pressure is on your shoulders, and you come back and throw a fucking dot to Brandon Ayuk, and both of you make a hell of a play on that, and then the play continues. Like, that to me was the biggest play of the game in my eyes, because it would have been really easy for him to immediately get down and in his head after Kittle dropped that and go, oh my God, now it's 3rd down. Now we got like everything right. And just crumble. And he didn't. And that is where Brock Purdy has started to separate himself. Is Jordan Love a good quarterback? 100%. Is he going to be good moving forward? 100%. Did he play as well as Brock Purdy last night? No, he did not, because when it counted most, he threw 2 interceptions. Brock Purdy did not. Brock Purdy threw a touchdown, led his team down to win the game. Jordan Love did not. He was outplayed by Brock Purdy, despite how poorly Purdy played the first 3 quarters.
I have 2 points to make on the rain stuff. Anybody, absolutely correct. Brock has not been good in the rain. Apparently, he going back to his college days, it's been something with him. But like you said, he's a smaller guy. He's got smaller hands. 2 points with the rain thing, though. The 2 games they played in the rain this year, he didn't play well in either game. In both games, when he needed to play well in the last drive, he did. He drove them down against Cleveland to set up the field goal. Moody just missed it, and he drives down for the win in this game. The second point I want to make about the rain thing is, if he has a 15-year career, how many fucking games is he going to play in a rainstorm? 8?
Maybe
9?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh God, every time he's outside, he's not going to have a lot of rain games. He doesn't play in Philly, and even they don't have what do they have, 2 a year? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's not like he's going to constantly be playing in these elements where it's going to be an issue. He's had it happen a couple times this year. He may go consecutive seasons where he doesn't play in any weather, and it's going to be 70. He plays in California. It's going to be 70 degrees next weekend and sunny, it looks like, or not raining anyway. And then he's in a fucking dome if they make the Super Bowl. So you have to worry about that for the rest of this year. But again, it's one of those things, like you said, we're finding things. So now the thing to say is, oh, well, if it's raining, I don't know if I want him as my quarterback. Great. So the 8 times in the next 15 years that might happen, we'll worry about it. But other than that, I mean, just give me a break with it. Somebody even replied to me, and again, not that I read a lot of these things, but oh yeah, well, he didn't even throw a touchdown in the game-winning drive. And I was like, what?
Who cares?
When you say things like that, you know nothing about football. You want to run the ball there, 1, to make Green Bay use your timeouts. 2, you have the best running back in the league. And 3, you scored a touchdown on it. 4, you remember the Seahawks Super Bowl when they should have run the ball from the 3? What kind of stupid statement is that? Yeah. But those are the kind of things that people are saying. Like, it's just ridiculous. So for me, what I came out of, I guess, long story short, what I came out of is that game is the quarterback of the 49ers. It doesn't matter what happens. When you need him to be clutch, he can come out and do it. He has proven that. And for a second-year quarterback to come out and do that, to prove that on that kind of stage, that's a trait you can't teach. That's a trait you either have or you don't. And if one of these guys in the 2021 draft, one of these top 5 QBs that were picked in the top 15 or whatever it was did that, it would be, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the next coming. Can you believe the moxie? But for whatever reason, this guy, people, maybe it is the physical stuff. I don't know, but people just don't want to believe it. So, but hey, they can keep doubting, and they can doubt all the way to a championship. So I always tell you,
Al, they hate us because they ain't us, man. They hate us because they ain't us. Like, that's
absolutely unbelievable.
That's really to me. That's I think Brock Purdy also suffers from being the quarterback of a very successful and very successful franchise, and a franchise that has a very, very large and vocal fan base. Yeah. And that is where I think it also comes down to it comes down to that. But as James Franco says in the movie The Interview, haters gonna hate and ain'ters gonna ain't. And right now, fine, hate on Brock Purdy all you want, but his team is in the NFC Championship for the 4th time in 5 years, the 7th time in 12 years, the 3rd year in a row. And he will be playing the Detroit Lions for a chance to go to the Super Bowl in the city that I was just in, Las Vegas. And I really, really, really like the position the 49ers are in right now, especially knowing what the game is going to look like next week. And the Detroit Lions are a quality opponent. But if the 49ers can play their game the way that they've shown us they can play, I don't think that the Lions can keep up. And we'll preview that game later this week. But ultimately, the name of the game is win in advance. And that's what the 49ers did. And as a fan base, we get to watch another NFC Championship game, this time in Santa Clara. And hey, I couldn't be more excited.
100%. I think this game was a blip. I think it had a lot to do with them being rusty and just coming out flat, and it happens. I think if they got it out of their system, we're going to see the real 49ers. My prediction anyways, we're going to see the real 49ers against the Lions next week. They're going to look like the team you've seen most of the season. But yeah, we'll break it down later in the week. Maybe try to get somebody from who covers the Lions on. We'll see what we could do. But It's going to be fun, man. Again, it was a win's a win. It was heart pounding, but enjoy it. And NFC Championship game, baby. 7th time in 13 years. Let's do it. For Brian, I'm Al.
Later.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
.2400 Sports is an Odyssey company.